This is it.
Have you been in it?
I have never been in it.
You've never been in it?
But I've spent hours and hours belting along.
Of course.
Of course. And now, you know, I know you love SiriusXM on Broadway.
Channel 72.
Get ready to hear yourself over and over and over again, even more than
thank you.
now. This is it.
Can I be honest? At times I've listened and you played something and I always change the channel. For me, it's a brutal thing. But
I know.
Maybe with this one I won't.
Well, we visited together about a year ago, and I will never forget it because the way you spoke about this movie, Les Mis, before it even happened, I've never forgotten it. And it was the role you were dying to play, and now I've seen you do it, and I don't have words.
Julie,
I don't have words for what you did on that screen.
Well, you know, I think anyone who loves theatre and loves Broadway is going to forever put Tom Hooper right up there with Stephen Sondheim. I mean, what he did was trust the performers. If you think about the risks he took, every day was like an opening and a closing night. I remember I was singing Who Am I that day, and I got up and I looked at my pillow and I immediately thought, when I put my head down on there, I may never sing that song again. Certainly won't in this film. There was he made it very clear, there's no going back. We were going to use live what we captured. No one got sick. I mean, not on their day of singing. I mean, it was kind of amazing, really, the risks he took. And then, like, to watch the respect, say for someone like Anne Hathaway, to hold a 2.5-minute close-up on film that close is about the best compliment I've ever seen for an actor. And it makes, what he did was enhance what was great about the theatrical production and allow you to have the best seat in the house.
Yeah.
And without doing the normal thing of chopping it up, you know, which is normally what happens in a movie musical.
Yeah. All of those close-ups, you included, are just incredible. The emotion that you feel welling up in you as an audience member is unparalleled. I don't think I've ever had that experience in a movie theater.
Thank you, Julie.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so when did you find out about the live singing element?
Right from the beginning.
Really?
Tom actually made it a stipulation to the studio for him. It was a deal breaker, and I know he had some resistance. It had never been done before. There was questions technically whether it could be done. But actually up to about 5 years ago, Simon Hayes, the sound recordist, said to me that the quality of the radio mics now are around about 90% of what you get in a booth. So he would take a very, very trained ear to really spot the difference. But he said, prior to 5 years ago, there's no way you could do it. There's the quality, you couldn't hold the voice, couldn't hold the range. We were in locations, the first thing I sung actually was on top of that mountain. It was about below freezing. So I was warming up there as much as I could. My hands were purple, and I can hear the cold in my voice, and it's thrilling, I think, to have that, you know, to really feel like you're there.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you about was, you know, you're this anomaly. You are Wolverine, and you're the boy from Oz, and, you know, you dazzled us with your one-man show back on Broadway, but is this something new where, I mean, no lines, singing, everything you had to do was singing?
You know, I learned from Trevor Nunn when I did Oklahoma, the first 3 weeks of rehearsal with Trevor, we were not allowed to sing a note. I was freaking out. I was like, man, I've got to learn this music. I've really got to get this under my belt. And he said, don't ever worry about that. He says, you'll sing the song enough. And technically, of course, you have to know the notes, but what's more important is to know what is beneath the lyric, why you're saying it. And I said, Trevor, I repeat every line in every verse. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. I'm like, and he goes, and you're going to find a reason to repeat it. It's like, okay. So I learned from then that that's the most important thing with musical theatre. If it's going to, it's one thing to sound fantastic or, oh, it's a beautiful song. But if you want to move people, if you want to advance the story and the plot, you need to treat the lyrics like dialogue.
Yeah.
When I hear Anne Hathaway sing that song, it's like I've never heard those lyrics before.
The two of you together, it was just spellbinding.
Thank you.
You threw out, I mean, what a task. It must be an exhausting feat to have taken that on. I felt exhausted for you.
No, it was tiring, but this is Jean Valjean. I mean, whatever I went through, he did 100 times more. And so, you know, I heard Eddie Redmayne the other day saying, and he was absolutely right, for all of us, there was never a feeling like, come on, I've done enough takes. It was more, I want to spill blood. I don't ever want to look at that screen and think I could have done more. I wish I'd done this. I wish everything was explored.
How was it for you? It felt to me, at least, like the melding of everything you're incredible at. You know, you have the acting moments, the singing moments, and the electricity that comes from being on a stage, which I know you love. It's like a whole other level for you.
Yeah, and Tom made that happen. You know, we rehearsed for 9 weeks.
Did you?
Yeah. Now, on a Broadway play, I suppose if you went out of town, you might get 9 weeks, but he treated it with such respect, and he understood the process, and all of us signed on. Everyone was there the whole time, and it was fantastic, like the best boot camp you've ever been to. Group warm-ups, individual singing lessons, there was choreography, of course, acting, we're looking through the book. It was incredible, and so, yeah, it did require me to pull every resource I think I have, and what more could you ask for as an actor, really?
Yeah.
And it's very rare for a role to come up that does demand that.
Yeah. Is this the pinnacle, or do you think there's any room for it to ever go on stage? Is Valjean ever going to happen on a stage for Hugh Jackman?
Maybe.
Never say never.
This is one of the great roles of all time. You know, I feel so honored to have done it, and I'm pretty positive if it's not the entire show, certainly as part of my one-man show repertoire, there'll be a fair bit of Jean Valjean, because I'm not ready to let it go yet.
Yeah, no. It needs,
maybe ever.
It needs to be like your role of a lifetime. And speaking of that, Colm being a part of, how did that feel?
Well, it was amazing. And by the way, we shot those scenes at the very beginning. So
special.
He was there with his wife, and he's the loveliest man. I'm sure you know him, and the most generous. And I did ask his advice about a song, a little part of Who Am I? And I was saying, you know, how do you tackle this? And he's just stopped me. He said, "Here." He goes, "Man, I just did what felt right for me." And he goes, "With Jean Valjean, you read the book, you have it, and just go with your instincts. And as long as it's true for you, you're doing the right thing."
Yeah.
It's great advice.
It's incredible. It was like the Super Bowl of films in Les Mis.
Well,
and
I think you're going to get quoted on that, by the way.
All right. I like it. I'll take it. Julie James on Broadway says.
Channel 72. The Super Bowl of films.
And last but not least, I got to see you at the Tony Awards in June, and I just want to personally congratulate you on your special Tony honor. So well deserved. And I want to thank you on behalf of all of the theater lovers across the country who love you as much as I do, for not only what you bring to our stage and screen, but for what you bring to our humanity and your philanthropy and your ability to give back to those who need it is unparalleled, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for what you have done.
That's about as beautiful a thing as I've heard at one of these. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It means a lot to me. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Julie.
So great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you.